episode of Work the Left Side. I'm joined by a member of the misery business, Mr. Alan Kay. How are we going, man? You good?
Yeah,
Not too miserable.
I'm always a little bit miserable, but I'm in a relatively okay mood tonight.
Good stuff. So yeah, this is obviously part of the March True Grit month. Obviously hyping up the show at the end of the month. And just chatting to people who are going to be involved, people that have been involved previously, and focusing more on the scene around Leeds and around this area, just to get the word out there, because I think we've got a pretty impressive scene. We've got some good promotions. Obviously, True Grit's back after a few years hiatus, and after Redemption, definitely think they've hit the ground running, and definitely looking forward to the True Grit games. So I was there for the first one, so I'm looking forward to this one as well. So yeah, man, how are you finding it? You was at Redemption as well, weren't you? I remember seeing you there.
No, I wasn't on Redemption. I was away on that one.
I thought this one.
Right, it was. Joe, I think it was. Ironically, I think it was Joe and Jet on Redemption.
Was it? Sorry,
yeah. It was before me and Joe had actually got our miserable selves together properly. We'd had a one-off tag match on the first recordings against Crashbolt, went really well, and it was always the plan.
What I saw. Sorry, dude, that's what I saw. Yeah, not Redemption. I knew I'd seen you, but I couldn't remember where. It was on the YouTube channel, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's YouTube stuff. So we'd done just a knockoff tag match. It was me and Joe against Crashbolt. We blended really well, and then JC just went, let's run with it for a bit. So yeah, we're in a bit of a good run at the minute. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, you get to keep it going for quite a while.
Yeah, because that's two of the teams in the match at the True Grit games, and it's you, Crashboat, Leon Slater, and I can't remember who. Jet Marshall. Jet Marshall, that's it. Yeah. So it tastes a little three-way tag match, a good combination of styles. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, like to be in the ring with just those five people. So like Joe, Jet, Leon, Crashboat, they're all amazing athletes, and then there's like my old ass trying to keep up with them, like 34, and these little whippets are just going to run around me. Luckily, I can just batter them, and it'll be lovely, and it'll all well and good. But like just to get the chance to be in the ring with like Leon Slater, who's on like the biggest wave I've ever seen ever. He's a nipper as well. He's a nipper of a kid. Like I never feel so old when I see like the stuff that he does, and I'm like, you're a child, such talented child. But it's the same with Joe and Crashboat and Jet and you name it on the True Grit roster. To be fair, like they're all just amazing people. So just having the chance to get in there with those five people, it's going to be immense. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I spoke to I had Scott Bell on last week, and I didn't realise, but he just randomly dropped that Leon's 18. And it just totally blew my mind. I was just like, no, behave. It must be like, mid-20s or something. There's no way. But no, it's 18. I was like, bloody hell. I say just the run that he's on at the minute. It's just him and Darius obviously got teaming up, doing really well elsewhere. Whether it be in a tag team or singles, he's definitely hit the ground running. Then if he's like at 18 years old, that's amazing.
Yeah, to have the mentality that Leon does, to just, no matter what he's handed, to just go out and smash it, is the guy's a talent beyond his years. Like he's got the next 20 years to just be the best wrestler ever. And I genuinely can't wait to see what Leon does. But first, I'm going to kick his teeth in on the.
Yeah. You got to put him in his place first. Obviously, Crashboat as well. They're a team that seems to be doing the rounds, get a lot of good rep. Well, they get a good reputation. I've got a mate up in Newcastle. He's heard of them. Big fan of theirs. So I think obviously they must be working up north as well, or further north. So I think they're doing the job. And I wanted to talk about. Well, I mentioned it before we start recording. Before we get into the True Grit side of things, Pursuit. Obviously, Mr. Leon Slater, heavily involved in that. As a local boy, it's just I see a lot of good people coming through Pursuit. So it's a name that's very much on what it should be on everybody's radar. How do you find? What I mean, what's your involvement there? You as a trainee, training, a bit of both.
Yeah, I'm as far as Pursuit's concerned, like I'm just a bog standard trainee. I go in, Liam trains us, and he does it really bloody well. Like, especially for me, like I've been in wrestling for Christ 7 years. I don't count anymore. I'm that old. I just don't like to admit how old I've been wrestling for a long time. So like I trained somewhere in Sheffield before, and it was fine. Like it was what it was. That place closed down, and then Liam messaged to say, "Oh, I'm opening what would become Pursuit Pro Wrestling with Nathan Black, and come down and give it a whirl." And this time I was like, I'm not really over enamored with wrestling. I've had a couple of years off. I'm not, like, the buzz wasn't there. I'd had 2 years away. I'd not watched wrestling in 2 years. I was like, sod it. I'll go down and I'll give it a try. And like everything that Liam does, as far as I'm concerned, is just, it's on the dot. Like, the lessons are well planned out. He caters to every single talent that's there, from complete rookie to 20-year vet. He just structures it oh so well. And he will take you to one side and he'll give you stuff to try. Like, he's given stuff that me and Joe to try as a tag team, me as a singles wrestler. Like, he will take, I don't know how many people got there. Let's say there's 50 people currently signed up to Pursuit Pro Wrestling for the training programs. He'll put in 110% for each of those 50 people, and everyone gets equal time. And it's like, it's so good to finally have a place in Sheffield that actually cares about wrestling and not just making £10 a week in training. Like, it actually cares about wrestling and progressing the wrestlers. And I will always big Liam up to like the highest cloud possible, but even then I don't think Liam and Pursuit are credited enough to how good and how well they run things.
Yeah, they're definitely setting the bar as well, not just obviously for the talent involved there and what they're doing. I've just kind of gone onto TikTok. I'm trying to work the left side over on TikTok with like highlight videos and stuff. I'm constantly seeing Pursuit turning up on my TikTok feed, where they're just showing you like sort of different moves, like what they're doing in training. You know, it's very much like breaking the fourth wall in regards to, but they've kind of got the social media side of it down very much as well. So it feels very, you know, modern, new age. It's kind of like, yeah, look, this is what we're doing. But they're very savvy about it.
Yeah, so that's, as good as Liam is with social media and everything like that, that's a Nathan thing. Like, Nathan, his social media, like, he's the gobshite behind the camera. Like, he will make a 30-second TikTok video into a 10-minute presentation behind the scenes, and it'll be this, like, we need this light, we need this music. Like, he has got that social side of it down. And again, that helps, rubs off on the wrestlers, because we then go to it, oh, well, if I present myself here and I present myself there and I can do this, that, and the next thing. And like you say, you look at the Pursuit Pro Wrestling TikTok, like, everyone's like smashing it, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, like millions of views, which then puts the eye on the products and on the training scopes and brings people in. And silly little things that, like, they just put on the Fenton stuff. I bloody love Fenton. Fenton's brilliant. But they should do a season, just a series of Fenton TikToks, and they'd all smash it out the park. But they get millions of views each time, and it's just Fenton making a tit of himself continuously. I love the bloke. But those kind of things, it just adds, it's something that you've not seen. I don't think any other school really does it. I think Grafter up in Newcastle, Drake School, they're starting to do a bit more social media stuff, but I don't think anyone does social media like Pursuit Pro Wrestling do at the minute. Like, it's just something that's never been seen, and it stands out big time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It just caught my eye. And you just sit there, you go down the rabbit hole, you start watching them, and it's like 20 different kinds of suplexes, and it just shows you, like, you know, going through all the different suplexes, or 20 different moonsaults, and just like you say, the Fenton stuff. once you start watching, you're just down the rabbit hole, and it's very easy to lose yourself. But it plants it in people's heads, which is key. So yeah, man, I'm big up for Pursuit for that. Seen Liam. I said on previous episodes that I used to go to Bradford back in the day. I saw Liam starting in BWA, coming up through there, through KGW in Dewsbury. I've seen him in Tidal, so I've seen him, on the journey all the way up. And yeah, fair credit. The guy's just awesome. Saw him in a feud with Rampage in Tidal, very believable. And when he was Tidal champion as well, kind of thing. So full credit to the guy. He's very awesome. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget like how long Liam's been doing this, and like the level that he's done. He's done like the NGW stuff. He's done the camps. He's done the big indies. He's done North. He's done Tidal. He's done this kind of show. He's done like the gimmicky gimmicks, and he's now doing the serious wrestler. Like his mind for this business. Like we go into Pursuit Pro Wrestling, he's already been there an hour. He's cleaned up. He's done everything else, and he'll sit and watch some random 80s AWA wrestling on YouTube just so he can get the footwork right, so he can show us, so then we can warm up, and he'll just be doing little things like that, like the effort that man puts in to be able to make himself as knowledgeable as possible, but both for himself and to teach on to others. Like it's underrated how much effort and time Liam puts in to being in trainer, and it then shows in his in-ring work as well. Like the guy's incredible, genuinely incredible.
I'm going to use that as a segue to somebody else that I would class as being one of the best ever. And I noticed before I called you in your profile picture, you are wearing a Travis t-shirt. Did you meet the man very often? Obviously, you said you've been in wrestling for about several years. I'm trying to timeline it together. Was he involved in sort of your training, obviously being in Sheffield?
No, he was around. So when I started, I think he was in remission from the first lot of cancer, and he was just on his way back. We were doing a show up in, where was it? Bloody hell, Wather-upon-Dearne it was. Mikey Rose was promoting it, Mikey Van Riot, and Trav was just on the comeback trail, but obviously he wanted the PCW thing to be his big. Yeah. I think it was PCW. Was it PCW?
Yeah, PCW, yeah.
He did and he did the big return. So he wanted to get some reps in and work the crowd and whatnot, but he didn't want to be Trav. So he chucked a mask on and his tiny little pants on. Not thinking that he's got a very distinctive tattoo all over himself. So he just taped up his shoulder across the tattoo and then the one on his hip. And he comes out and he does all the Trav mannerisms. And like everyone's like, that's fucking Trav. That's Trav. It was Kid Icarus. That's what it was. It was Kid Icarus. And everyone's like, no, it's fucking Trav. Yeah, never had that much direct involvement with him. He came down and did a couple of training sessions with the guys up at Sheffield. Like, always one of the nicest guys in a room. Like, had an immense knowledge and passion for the business. And it was one of those things that, like, once he was full back into the business, like the guy just wanted everything to go like just perfectly, and he wanted the same for all of his friends as well. And it really is a shame that the guy's not here to be around to see the people that he trained and where they are and where they're going, and the stuff he'd be able to do now would just be incredible too. Yeah,
no, I fully agree. I always like to, if I get a chance, if I know people kind of around at that time, I always like to get at least one Travis sort of story into an episode if I can. So, but yeah, seeing your picture just kind of prompted me to mention. So, always got much love. Well, it's always nice to hear good things about him. You know, just reminisce a little bit. So, right. So, I'm going to ask you the generic question. What got you into wrestling in the first place? What made you think, you know what, I'm going to do that every week to my body?
I have everyone has this like really generic story of, I really when I was younger and I wanted to be a wrestler all my life. I didn't. I didn't. My first WrestleMania, and I'm going to age myself quite massively here. My first WrestleMania that I watched was WrestleMania 14. And I was like, oh, I actually, to go back a little bit, I was watching Cartoon Network in my mum and dad's bedroom on Telly West cable, and it was at the time where Cartoon Network used to shut off at 9 o'clock, and it'd go to TNT, and then Monday Night Nitro would come on, and me pushing my luck, going, I'm just going to sit and watch cartoons for as long as possible. Obviously, Dexter's Lab cuts off at 9 o'clock, and then WCW comes on. I was like,
yeah.
This is amazing, which would then go to WrestleMania. And my first fondest memory of wrestling is watching WrestleMania 14, and they did the tag team battle royal, and there was like all the teams coming out, and I was like, this is weird. And then Legion of Doom come out, and I was like, fuck. There's spikes on their shoulders and helmets, and obviously I was a young impressionable boy at that time, and Sonny comes walking out like, hey up, we've got something. And that was it. But I never had any interest in being a wrestler. Like, I was like, oh, this is fine. This is fun to watch, like the Attitude Era and stuff like that. So fast forward a couple of years, I'm working in a call center for a facility company. I am, Christ, how old am I at the time? 26, 27 I would have been at the time. So relatively old as far as it comes to like, let's go back. Leon Slater is smashing it at 18 and I'm at 27 wrestler. So 27, I'm in a call center. I hate my day to day. I've got literally nothing exciting. My son's been born and I'm sat there going, oh, my son's going to go to school soon. And I don't want my son growing up to say, my dad works in a call center. It is. I know it is. So I was like, oh, whatever. And then I was flicking through Twitter and the training school in Sheffield came up. And I was like, that would be funny. So then I got in contact with them. So the reason I'm a wrestler, the reason I got into a wrestler is because I didn't want my son saying, oh, my dad works in a call center. And now I'm at the point that my son says I'm fat and ugly, but after that, he tells everyone that I'm a wrestler. My dad's and I'm like, that's cool. So that's why I got into wrestling, so I could have something for my son to say that was cool, that wasn't just fat and ugly.
Dude, that's awesome. That for me is genuinely the best reason. That's just quality. I love that. That's just anybody knows me. I've got kids, and I think the world of them. And just for that very reason alone, just so they can actually turn around and be like, yeah, my dad's cool. He does this.
Yeah, my dad does this. He won't watch me wrestle. Don't get me wrong. We were at a show. It was Phoenix Events Wrestling. They do the one more round for Cavendish Cancer charities. I was wrestling on that. Who was I wrestling? Oh, I was wrestling everyone. I was literally wrestling. Everyone was debuting. So there was Music Man. There was David Grant from Northampton. There was there was loads. There was like 6 people, and the whole thing was like, I get in the ring, pipe my mouth off, and call everyone shit. Someone comes in, hits me with a move, repeat 7 times, and my son was in the crowd, and I was like, this is the first time my son's going to see me wrestle, and I'm just getting beat up. It's fine. And the whole thing was for my son to get in at the end and have a little moment with me. I've taken all these moves. My son thinks I'm dead. He's crying in the crowd. I can't get him, so he won't come and see me wrestle anymore. So, despite the fact I got into wrestling because of him, and see me wrestle.
No, I watch it.
Dying every time.
I think that's a definition of a cruel twist of fate. It's still a good reason though, dude, and fair play. I'm just getting memories of if you've ever watched it, if you a documentary called Beyond the Mat, sort of late 80s, where Mick Foley's getting absolutely hammered and you just see his kids sat in the audience bawling.
Exactly like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't take a steel chair to the face 10 times in a row. I took like a uranagi and a spear, and my son was like, I don't like it, my dad is dying. Walked past him, was like, you were supposed to save me. He's not having it. He's like, no, not coming. It's great you're a wrestler, Dad, but I'm never ever ever coming to see you.
That's awesome. obviously we talked about True Grit, talked about Pursuit, obviously Phoenix. What's the goals going forward? I mean, you keep mentioning the age. You've got a few years left in you yet, though, so I presume. So is it you've got a long-term plan? Or are we just taking it sort of a show at a time?
Yeah, I don't really have. I've never had a plan. Like I said, I'm 34 now. Like I've just turned 34. I'm not in the best shape of my life, but like mentally and physically, I'm in a really good place. I don't. I know I'm not getting to AEW. I'm not getting to WWE, TNA, and all. Like they're not ringing me and go, "Oh, let's get that slightly chubby Mardy bloke from Sheffield." Like he's going to draw in millions. Like I'm not I'm not on the WWE's mark. But what I want to like. I was watching one of your podcasts with JC, the one that you did a few weeks, months, whenever it was ago, and
Before
JC was
yeah.
in thousands to leads, not hundreds. I want to pull in thousands, and if I could be just a small part of that success, then I consider that a win for me. Like if I could be a small part in Joe Wade, who has like the biggest potential in the world as a character and a wrestler. If I could be a small part in the light shining on him, great. My time in the spotlight, as small as it was, is fading, and I'm cool with that. It's now for my generation, like my older ass, to go, right, cool, let's give you all these little kids, like the little 18, 19-year-olds, use me as a stepping stone to make you look cool, and then you do the same in literally 20 years. Like I was thinking about it earlier. It's like I am probably old enough. Like I'm originally from Conisbrough and Doncaster. At 16, you usually had 2 kids and like you were on the dole. So I am legitimately old enough to be these kids' parent. Like I'm old enough to be their dad. But like I have no long-term goal. I have no short-term goal. I get my book in from Mr. Bookerman, and I just want to enjoy it and give the bet. Like the kid in the crowd, if he's going to cheer me, give him the best night ever. If he's going to boo me, make sure that he's got memories to go on. It's like, oh, I hate him. Like I can't wait to see him lose next time. Like it's not about what I want or do anymore. It's like the memories that are made along the way. Because I wasted 5 years being resentful and going, oh, why am I not the king of the castle and this and now I'm old enough to go, because it's not my turn. When it's my turn, it's my turn. Cool. Let's just enjoy the ride, ups and downs, crack on, and just have fun while we do it.
Dude, that is the perfect mindset. Like I said, you're not hogging anything, and it's all about who comes next, kind of thing. So you just keep the train moving, kind of thing, keep it flowing. Yeah, that's the perfect sort of mindset when it comes, especially when it comes to wrestling. You see certain people who just don't want to step down, or they don't want to admit, or they don't want to kind of not pass the torch, but they don't want to help the people coming after them because they're scared that they'll take their spot, kind of thing.
Yeah. But I think that happens a lot less now, because there was a time in wrestling where you would have 35, 40-year-olds, ladies and gents, who, let's say, they hated the home life, they hated the real life, and wrestling was their only joy in life. And then they became resentful towards wrestling because they weren't getting the top spots and they weren't getting booked as much, and they were just starting to get resentful. I think we're in a position now where a lot of people, like I said, I am the older generation now. Like I am that old person, and the last thing I want to do is to have a new generation of trainees that are coming through and go, oh, I don't want to be like him. He's fucking horrible, and he don't do this, and he hates it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like the persona I portray is a mardy bastard, and I hate the world and everything. And don't get me wrong, if my child's been an absolute shitbag, that can be true in times. I'll dispute. You ask any dad, I'm sure you'll be the same. There will be days where you're like, I am going to have to walk away before there is a foot thrown through the door. We all have those things in real life and in the. I just put it in a wrestling ring. That's all. But I don't want to be that like old guy just sat in the corner like bloody kids today. That no, kids are like, the kids in wrestling are amazing. Like let them do all the crazy shit. Like just let them enjoy it, because the last thing you want to do is just ruin a generation of kids that don't enjoy wrestling because you're the mardy knobhead in the corner. I don't want to be that mardy knobhead. Let them have fun. If that means I have to take a load of bumps in the meantime, I have to take a load of bumps in the meantime. It'll be fine.
And you don't want to be like, I know you haven't watched many films, but there's the Mickey Rourke film, The Wrestler. Obviously, kind of it talks about, it's based about like a guy in his late 50s, used to be a big time wrestler in the 80s, and he's now working like the small time indies, body's beating kind of thing. You know, he's just very angry, pretty much. You know, he's wasted his life kind of thing. So, say you don't want to be that guy. You know, when you get to a certain point in life where, like you said, you just don't want to be the mardy guy in the corner that everybody's just wants to avoid.
Yeah, I don't want to be the stereotypical, like you just said, like the stereotypical old wrestler who's just like comes in, doesn't help anybody, does the bare minimum, takes his wage and goes home. I don't want to be that. Like, I want to enjoy it while I still can. Like, touch wood, like I have no intention of leaving anytime soon. I want to go until I'm 40, 50. At some point, probably in the next few years, my body's going to go, hey up, dickhead, slow down.
Yeah.
And I've also got I've got a nearly 10-year-old son who I'd kind of like to spend time with as he gets a bit older. So I need to like balance it out, like things like that. But like, I don't want to be the stereotypical old guy who's just, like, it's no fun for anybody. It's not worth it. And I've seen enough people like that where it has to be their way and there's no other way. And it's no fun for anyone. And that's how people just don't carry things on and don't come back.
Yeah, I can imagine being guys that just kind of, if they've had a few bad experiences, just kind of walk out and give up, and you know, it leaves a bad sour taste in the mouth, kind of thing. And I know it's obviously it's not for everyone. I mean, I don't know. Probably need to look into it, but I remember probably pre sort of lockdown. There was a kid that I was a big fan of that I saw in Leeds a lot called Sam Wilder. I've not seen him kicking around for a few years. Again, probably just lost. Probably like you sort of said during lockdown, you kind of probably lost your enthusiasm and never came back. Whereas you was lucky enough to go to Pursuit, and it obviously lit a fire under your arse again, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think especially for the Leeds lot, like obviously they were all under one class, and that class just through COVID and speaking out and whatnot, just it went. And in a lot of cases, fucking good. And some people just went, I'm not asked about traveling 45 minutes to Sheffield. If one opens up in Leeds, then maybe, yeah. But like there was quite a few people who just went back. Like you say, Sam Wilder, like Dave Graves. I love David Graves. Like what an athlete. And he just went, nah, I'm all right, whatever.
Yeah.
There'll have been hundreds of wrestlers that have done it, and I don't like I said, like I don't want any newbie coming up and just going like doing a couple of weeks and going, I don't like this atmosphere. And like I keep saying it, like Pursuit is like for a newbie. I wish I had Pursuit 7 years ago, because I would be 10 times the wrestler I am now if I'd had the first 4 years of my career. Like in Pursuit, I'd be so much better now. My mentality would be better. Like it'd be, rather than just doing trainee shows and just in a 27-man tag in front of 12 people like once a month, I'd be doing proper shows and I'd have got the proper experience that I needed. And like with Pursuit, we will get to a point where like, well, we're there now, to be fair, where these newbies are coming in and they're getting amalgamated into like the normal classes pretty quickly. So they'll do the training bulk, and then the rookie, the induction course, and then they'll go into the thing. And no one's like, I don't want to work with the new kid. I don't want to work with the rookie. Everyone's like, no, come on, in here, do this thing, let's go. Like I keep saying, we're in such a good place for wrestling in a minute, and I just want it to just continue like forever. I don't want
to. I fully agree. It seems to have hit the ground running again. Obviously, True Grit's back. locally on Tidal have kind of ventured a little bit out of Leeds into Huddersfield now, but they're still putting on shows, putting on good shows from what I've heard. I haven't made it over to Huddersfield yet, but I will hopefully at some point to see Tidal. They do deserve love, and if you do get a chance to go see one of the shows, go see it. But then obviously all over the UK, you've got the North, you've got big scenes down south. Where 1PW's back, doing good stuff in Doncaster. Just the whole scene across the country is you don't have to travel that far anymore to see a good show. It looks like there's a lot of good shows on in a lot of different places. It's not like there's only 3 or 4 quality promotions anymore.
Yeah, so like I can't remember who I was talking to. It might have been Liam. It might have been, I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But like you're never more than like an hour away from a good wrestling show. Like don't get me wrong, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, like 2018, you were always half an hour from a wrestling show. 90% of them were shit though. Like it was in a women's club and it was like in front of 12 people and the lighting was bad and the PA system was just a laptop with some Bluetooth speakers. Like you went there and it was like, oh, this is not wrestling. But now, like you say, you've got True Grit, you've got Future Shock, you've got Tidal, you've got House of Pain. Like I'm in Sheffield and they're all an hour away from me and they all do amazing shows. Like House of Pain, like Styx does a load of amazing work with all his trainees. Every single trainee gets on a show, I think once a month or something like that. He runs like 4 shows every weekend and then does additional stuff. And then Styx does the camps with Mega Slam and does all the additional stuff. Like you're never more than an hour away, like from a really, really good, high quality wrestling show in the UK right now. Like you said, like 1PW, like who'd have thought like in 2023 that Doncaster Dome is going to be running 1PW shows again. And you're going to like, it's weird because you've still got the likes of RVD and like, I mean, fully expected Tommy Dreamer to turn up at some point.
Well, Rhino was in Lincoln. So we've had RVD, we've had Rhino. So,
like,
you know,
turn up, but then you've got them going up against like Leon's on these shows and like he's there with like Mark Haskins and like we've never been closer to like big time shows here in the UK without having to work for WWE. Like NGW are back up and running. Like they're another big one that are going to be pushing that boundary again, and they're going to be like so many good high quality shows that everyone should be going to. And everyone does go to. Like there's no, again, touch wood, there is no 10, 15 crowds anymore. Like there's no more shows where there's more wrestlers than fans.
Yeah.
Back to those, just like, especially speaking with JC and True Grit, like he puts so much hard work into the True Grit YouTube series and like the planning that and making sure that everything follows a story to build to these big shows at Left Bank, like on the 25th of March. What a plug. Like he works so hard to build to these big shows where he can go, right, people are invested, they know the story, tickets, let's go. And like this is what he's doing at the moment. It was such a good place for wrestling. Like so good that we're so lucky to have so many like good caliber wrestlers and shows going around that we're never going to miss out anytime soon.
That's it. I mean, like you mentioned, 1PW. We've mentioned Leon Slater. At the next show in April at Doncaster, you got him and Durice versus Ace Austin and Chris Bay from the Bullet Club versus the Rascals versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. So you got 4 UK talents, 4 imports kind of thing. And it's top caliber.
How mad is that? Like you just look at that match alone and you go, oh cool, that's worth 20 quid.
And a ladder match as well. It's a ladder match.
All going to do mad. It's a ladder match as well.
Yeah. For the titles.
Imagine the mad shit that Leon's going to do in that match. Like imagine, like I was saying with Flash and whoever else, like all mental competitors, they're all going to go, let's see what we can do. And they're all going to be amazing. And it's that match alone is worth 20 quid. and there'll be another 6 matches which are just as good. And that's where we are wrestling at the minute. Like, every match is a banger.
The other one that's been announced is, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, you've got Leo Rush, Frankie Kazarian, Scotty Rourke, Robbie Bell, Luke Jacobs, and somebody else, I think, for an open weight type, basically the X Division title, their equivalent of the X Division title, in the 6-way match, 6-man match.
Yeah, just want to say very quickly, Scotty Rourke is one of the nicest men I've ever met in wrestling. His other half is one of the nicest women I've met in wrestling. And Scotty Rourke is one of the most underrated athletes in this country that we have right now. So good. His character's down. His performances are always top level. Like, that guy should be at the top of every card going forward. He's so good. And like, I don't feel like it's spoken about enough.
That is seconded. I had RJ Singh on a while ago, and he'd just been in a sort of championship tournament, and it was him and Scotty in the final. And yeah, he just, same as you, just picked up Scotty, sort of saying amazing in-ring talent, but more than that, a genuinely awesome human being as well. And it was just like, yeah. So a lot of love for Scotty from a lot of people, by the sounds of it. So, and if anybody ever wants to ask him if he wants to be on the show, I would love to talk to the guy at some point. So I just think he just generally just seems like, yeah, like I said, an awesome human being. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's another one. We've got a title, which is a combination of your imports, and then you've got your, you've got your UK guys, you've got your Robbie Bell, Robbie X, Scotty Rourke, Luke Jacobs in the ring with Leo Rush, Frankie Kazarian, and they'll all be paved as equals, kind of thing, which speaks volumes for me.
Yeah, we want PW. Like, don't get me, I have no aim, but I'm not on one PW level. Like, I'm cool with that. But like, just looking at it, like, as a fan perspective, like, you don't look at it and go, oh, this match is definitely about Leo Rush, and like all the other people are just going to be working to Leo Rush. No, they're all working together. They're all working on the same page. They're all working on the same level, and that's just going to be a banger of a match. Like, it's just going to be so good. And like I said earlier, like, there'll be 6, 7, 8 matches on that card, and they're all going to be, I want to beat that match. I want to beat whatever match goes on first. Like, I want to beat the main event, and they're all going to want to beat the best match on that card. And like, they're all going to go out and smash it. Like, I remember working with Luke Jacobs on the camps. Did a couple Mega Slam shows together. Oh, Christ, 2018, 19 it might have been. Just doing a couple of like camp show tag match, and to see where Luke Jacobs is now is like, it's mad. He's so good. Like, the man's a hoss of a man. Like, he's a dude. Like, again, another one. Like, I'll say amazing things about a lot of good people, but like, again, like, he came out of nowhere. Like, he won the what was the title at Bloody Progress? Was it the Atlas title that you won?
Oh,
won our title Progress.
Yeah, sure. It's kind of like they're equivalent, like, not just like the Super J Cup or that kind of, like, the sort of someone to keep an eye on kind of thing.
Yeah, so
the one for the future kind of thing.
Something at Progress, and everyone just went, oh, and then COVID came, and it kind of put a massive turd on everything, unfortunately. But yeah, like, again, like Lou Jacobs, yeah, he's so cool. Like, he's such a, like, he knows what he's good at, and he does it bloody well. Like, he just goes for it. He's so good. But yeah, there's, like I said, there's loads of people that are like that. There's going to be so much talent on show in the next year or two. It's going to be mental.
Oh, that's it. And you've got guys like that. You've got, guys like yourself still, going strong. You need a good mixture of. I wouldn't want to see a show of just the young'uns kind of thing. As good as they are, you need that balance of excitement and experience and knowledge and eagerness kind of thing. So you've got those guys. You still obviously got guys like Nathan Cruz, Matt Myers, kicking up, doing what they're doing at such a good level as well. Nathan Cruz, NGW, that's obviously Matt Myers and Nathan Cruz, heavy.
Like Nathan Cruz, like I trained with Nathan a few times when NGW were running in the UKW arena at Batley. Trained under Nathan quite a few times. So good, so knowledgeable. Like genuinely, just knows his shit. And like, I'm not telling anyone like what they don't know. Like Nathan Cruz knows his shit. Like he doesn't go as long as he does and at the level that he does without people going, "Oh, he's really good." But like, he's really good. Like what he does in the ring, like he goes over and double that as a trainer as well. Like again, like they're all good. Like you name someone in British wrestling, and I'll tell you why they're good. Like this is where I am now. Like everyone who is here has a positive. Everyone who is here has a good story. Everyone has a good background. Like we're all going forward together. We're all doing this together. It's not us and them. It's not north and south. It's not like anything like that. It's just cool. Let's go. Although I still hate Leeds. I'm a Man United fan. Allowed to like.
Oh, I won't mention the Liverpool game then from last weekend.
Mention it all you want. Look, listen. Liverpool are that shit at the moment that's all they're able to like be happy about is that they've beat someone 7-0. It's a wonderful score for them. It's lovely. It's all they're going to achieve this season. That's their only trouble. They're going to have a big old bus parade for that time that they beat Manchester. That's all they've got.
Well, I'm sitting pretty at the minute. I'm trying not to be too smug because I know it's going to go tits up, but I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm chilling at the minute and enjoying it while I can.
Yeah, enjoy it while you can. You'll come close. And don't get me wrong, I really hope Arsenal don't win the league because if Man City win the league, I can go, yeah, well, they've spent millions over the last few years. There's no excuse for Arsenal winning it. Like, I've got no back, like, they haven't spent.
Yeah, you can't bitch much about it, can you, really? It's just one. If we win it, it's because everybody else played shit. There you go, that's your excuse.
Like, this is the thing. Everyone else is not playing shit. Like, Man City are on par with where they would normally be. Like, Arsenal have just been really good. And that's what's annoying. Like, there's no excuse. Arsenal have just been good. And I really, really want them to be shit again. Like, I want them to be Arsenal. I want Arsenal to be, like, with Spurs, like, 4th or 5th. And, like, that's their excitement is whether they get 4th. Not 1st. I can't be dealing with that.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm old enough to remember it just basically being Man U and Arsenal at the top of the table for a good 10 years, kind of thing. That was it. That was the two teams. That was the rivalry. I'm still pissed at Rooney for diving and getting a penalty and stopping the invincible run.
Good night.
No, still fuming. But let's see, we can laugh about it now. It's all good. So another name, obviously, when it comes to British wrestling, would be he's been dubbed by a few people that I've spoken to as the Obi-Wan of British wrestling, and that would be Rampage.
Like, what a guy, by the way. Like, what a guy. Like, has done it all. Like on all levels, like from top to bottom. Like, excuse me. Like, he was when Rampage Brown. He'd gone away for it. I don't know why. I don't know the backstory. I was just coming into British wrestling, and someone went, "Oh, go and watch Rampage Brown." I was like, "All right, whatever." And he'd done a one-off show for Progress, and everyone just like lost their shit, went mental. I was like, "Oh, he must be a big deal." And then he comes out, and he's like massive and just beats
thighs like that.
Thighs the size of like double tree trunks. Like the guy is like massive man, and then behind the scenes is just he's lovely. He's like, I don't want to ruin like the illusion that like he can kick the legitimate shit out of your fucking mouth. Don't get me wrong, lovely bloke, knowledgeable, will help anyone. Like I've met the guy maybe a handful of times, and he's been nothing but respectful to everyone, and he's just like so good and will help anyone that needs help or like, that wants help, or anyone that asks for advice. He'll give their advice. And then 5 seconds later, he's like, right, game mode, and off he goes to just throw the yards across a like. he's so good. Like, I'd love to see him on every show, like just doing what Rampage does and just cracking skulls just over and over. It's amazing. Like for someone who like has a very similar style of like big man, like just watching like Rampage just going, yeah, like what I'm trying to do is not that, and it needs to be that. If I'm gonna do it, it needs to be Rampage good. And it's a phrase I've used that like it's good, but it's not Rampage good. And then it'll never be Rampage good.
That's awesome. That's like say, man, set the goal, set the bar, and just keep working towards, being Rampage good. That's a t-shirt that is right there. I'm sure that should be a t-shirt. That's some merch.
But it's
I want to be Rampage good. I was stood at Redemption. Unfortunately, I was stood next to bloody Nathan Hanna or Wing Commander Nash. He was in the audience. He'd had his match. He'd come out. He stood in the audience. I stood next to him, and I don't know. He must have done something to Rampage during Rampage's entrance. Rampage just got in the ring and started hurling abuse at him and pointing at him. I just found myself slowly moving away from him. I was like, no, not with him.
Yeah, you want to be in the splash zone. Like you don't want to be in the splash.
I was like,
skull would have imploded just from a step.
I like you, Nash, but yeah, you're on your own on this one, mate. I'm out. See you later. So
my favourite matches against Wing Commander Nash. One of my favourite matches. Sorry to go off on a tangent. Yeah, like
go.
I'm gonna bring it way down to me versus Wing Commander Nash. So yeah, we're talking like best in the business, and then. But it's a good story. So we were doing the Phoenix event show. It was me versus Wing Commander Nash versus Kyle Kingsley versus Flex Buffington. As you can tell from the names that are in there, not a 5-star classic. And that's nothing, like all fantastic athletes, like fantastic. It was not there to be a wrestle-thon arm bars and wrist locks and a 5 out of 5-star instant wrestling classic. So the match start, preface this, I'd had the world's worst tan the day before. I had gone like so dark in the fake tan. Like this tan had gone dark. And I walk into the building and I'm saying my hellos and I'm blah blah blah, and I'm sat on the stage, and then Wing Commander walks in and he's saying he's low, and he looks at me and he goes, "What the fuck have you done?" What? Your face. So my tan had gone really dark. So then that was it. He'd just gone running with this idea that was going to be the theme of the match, was how bad my tan was. So we got into the match, and there's me, there's Kyle Kingsley, and there's Flex Buffington, and we're all stood in the ring, and then Wing Commander comes in the ring, and he just storms into the ring and accuses me of stealing his KFC gravy and using it. And that was the story of the match. Alan, in a Welsh accent, whenever he speaks to me, he's Welsh. I don't know why. It's so difficult to understand and not comprehend what's going on in that man's brain. But he said, Alan, and he's accusing me of stealing his gravy. And like, I was like, okay, this is where this match is going. I take a drop toe hold onto a KFC bucket, which then cuts me open, and I'm bleeding KFC gravy. The match goes on, utter madness. I obviously lose the match, obviously, but I didn't lose it to Wing Commander. I lost it to Wing Commander's, I think, 7-year-old daughter at the time. So he's got his daughter in the ring. His daughter hit me with something and then pinned me. So my record at Phoenix Events Wrestling shows that in a match between Alan Kay, Wing Commander Nash, Kyle Kingsley, and Flex Buffington, Alan Kay lost to a 7-year-old girl.
Dude.
How Rampage Brown to Alan Kay losing to a 7-year-old girl, I don't know. But this is how it works.
It's the wonderful world of wrestling. You never know where it's going to go.
never take yourself so seriously. Like,
Dude,
promised I
that-
wouldn't put him over, but referee Lee Thomas, referee, he's the man. I'm not putting him over. He's a shit. I love you, Lee. Most of his moments have been against me. He stunned me. He's gave me the Lee Pole's elbow. He beats me up all the time, and I'm the one that gets shit for it. And he's the reason I lose half of my matches. He's an absolute shitbag. We want Sandy. Sandy is the better referee. We don't want referee. We want Sandy all the time.
yeah. That just seems like an abuse of power to me, dude. You know, I mean, I won't stand for it.
I know, right? And every time I go to hit him, I get disqualified. Where's the fucking justice?
No, I think we should have a one-on-one. Put him in his place. Yeah, have a death match against
people. Alan Kay versus referee, steel cage match, Hell in a Cell. What was it? What was the match? It was a not three stages, a triple cage. Cage.
Wow. Yeah.
Alan Kay versus referee, triple cage.
That's the one. With all weapons in the top cage.
I'm 34. I'm not reaching that top pissing cage.
No, start at the top and work your way down. Do it the other way around. Start at the top and come down.
Plate of chips and a cup of coffee at the bottom. Like first one.
Digestive.
Thanks for an hour.
Just a nice little plate of biscuits. So there you go.
Like a couple of chocolate digestives, a nice 1 cup of coffee, and some slippers. That's the match for me.
Whoever gets the dressing gown on first wins.
Dressing gown on a pole match. There we go.
Right. If it doesn't happen at True Grit Games, it's got to happen at the next one.
That's it. I'm sure there's someone who'll book it at some point. There'll be some of this.
So we mentioned it previously. Obviously, JC's vision for the YouTube show. I spoke to him previously, and we talked about it for a while. It seems like a genius idea. To be fair, something like nobody else is doing. We mentioned obviously Pursuits nailed it with TikTok and the social media and stuff like that. But this sounds like a genuinely awesome idea by James to do, like I said, episodic of each show be the end of a series. Like you've got series 1, series 2, series 3. Each series is going to have a different kind of story arc to it, and then the show will be the finale for that series kind of thing.
Yeah, so like when he came to us, like he approached myself to book for the show, and he was like, "This is what we're doing, and this is like the idea for it." I was like, oh, "Okay, I kind of get it. Like, I'm getting booked. Cool. Let's see where we go." And then when it unraveled, and he was like, "You see the episodes come out week by week, and then the full show was released, and then a week later it was the actual show in Leeds." And I was like, that's a 6-week build, week by week, where people can watch the story continue and watch it go off at the big show in Leeds. Like 6 weeks build for whatever, and like it's all on YouTube, it's all free, it's at no additional cost for the crowd, and they're just like, right, I'm invested in, let's say, from the next show coming up, like the women's title match. Like all the women that are in there are incredible. Like they've had a big build on YouTube to go to that match in a couple of weeks and go, you all know the story, you know who to like and who you don't like. Like let's go. And as you watch things and as things progress on each other, it's such a good idea. Like JC said it well. Like we take in wrestling differently now. Like we don't. How many people stay up and watch 3 hours worth of Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite and Rampage? Like we don't do it. We watch it in clips. We watch it in segments. So like to have these shows on True Grit and True Grit TV on YouTube where it's a couple matches and you're able to take in small bites every now and again, it builds it up really nicely. And like you said, with the fireworks at the end of the big show, like you've got the payoff and you're like, cool. Build, go. Like it's such a good idea, like genius idea from JC. And like as I say, if I could be a small part of helping that pay off, fucking great.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's like it's something different, isn't it? It's something, getting it out there. It gives you guys more time to shine as well. You've got the episodic stuff on YouTube where you get to cut promos, you get to do interviews, you get to have your matches, and then obviously the mindset when the fans go to an actual show, they're not bogged down with just promos or people talking. They just get to see quality matches that they're emotionally invested in. That's the key thing. You get your moments. Like the matches aren't just exhibition matches; they're actually matches that you care about.
Yeah, and like how many times have people gone onto a show and they've had to do a promo to explain why the next match is happening? Oh, my name is Generic Wrestler A, and I'm going to tell you why I hate Generic Wrestler B, and it all started way back. Like the little kid in the front row, he just wants to see you punch that other person in the face. Who's been dragged there by his wife and his child because he's the one that drives the car and he don't want to have to go all the way to Leeds and come back and then go back again and come back. He's sat there in the front row with his wife and child going, just punch him in the face. Just hit him. Why are you talking on the microphone? This isn't WWE sometimes. Like, we don't need a 15-minute segment on the microphone. And that's where the YouTube stuff comes into it. That's your 15-minute promo segment. And you can watch it over and over as many times as you want before the show. But then on the show, action. It's all go. Let's crack on. It's matches. Like, there's not many segments that come up on True Grit that have not got memorable moments. There's something in them all the time that you go, oh, that was cool. That was cool. I love a promo. I think promos are great, but there's a time and place for them. And we don't have 3 hours worth of Raw and advert breaks to fill and things like that, where we don't need a 10-minute bloke on a microphone going, I'm going to do this to that wrestler, and then the music's hit, oh, let's have a fight. Just have a fight. Like, this is where JC's got it, like, he's got it spot on, where he's cut out the need for the on-show promo by having what is essentially free advertisement on YouTube week in, week out. And people can go back and watch it 6 months down the line and go, oh, we've got, I don't know, let's say, for example, we've got Crash Boat versus Misery Business. Let's say we've got that 10 months down the line and like it's built to a big crescendo or whichever and blah, 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 blah. People will go, oh, I wonder if these two have wrestled before. Yes, we have. Let's go back and watch it and see how the story started and how it's progressed and gone up and down and done this and that and the next thing. Then when it comes to, I don't know, May 2024 and it's the big, everyone knows what's happening. And you don't need to ask, oh, well, I don't quite understand. You can just go back and watch it all the time and it's free and it's just there. Like I say, it's such a good idea.
Yeah, no, it is genius. Dude, it has been a pleasure. I've just had a thing flash up on my phone telling me my battery's about to run out. So I'm going to start to wrap this up. We've nearly hit the hour mark, which is where I generally want to I'd like the episodes to last about an hour. It has flown by. I generally love to have you back on again at some point. Just your enthusiasm, dude, and just, you're absolutely just hearing you talk about it and stuff. It's just very genuine, very happy, very comfortable with what you're doing. So thank you so much for talking to me.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. And let's hope we do this again later down the line. And I'm still as happy. But if you're bloody bastard, it's fine. Just don't annoy me. It's fine. It's the leather trousers. They're really tight. That's all it is. Chafe, man.
Yeah, they got a chafe. A bit of talcum powder or something.
It's just the chafing. It makes me really miserable.
Do you want to plug your socials if you want people to get your books or interact with you, or if you don't want them to talk to you, just tell them to do one.
This is how old I am. I have to get my phone out to check out what my own socials are. I think Alan K Wrestler on Twitter. I think I'm the same. Yeah, I'm Alan K Wrestler on Twitter, ALANKAY, spelt simple, act simple. And I think I'm the same on Instagram as well. I don't have Facebook because it was shit, so I didn't bother.
So yeah, that's it. Obviously, if you're watching this, and the links will be in the video anyway. Thank you for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, and we will see you again very soon.